they do?
You just said that nobody knows really what at the end of the day they are really doing, and you also said the people you know or business analysts you know, they are not actually living and working in the full potential that exists. So
This one example that I know others, for example, there's a bank that you and I know very well where business analysts are a functional role. I think their big challenge was this bank went into a more agile mode. A lot of business analysts said, okay, now we have to contend with product owners and scrum masters, but we still have project managers, and let's throw a business analyst on top. I think there was a little bit of a confusion. In German, we say, if too many cooks in the kitchen mess up the recipe.
This was English, by the way.
Yeah, that was English in German. Yeah, but that's kind of the challenge. So I think that business analysis is absolutely a topic of the future. I think a lot of people are juggling with the concept, but they don't have a concrete understanding of what its potential or what its scope of responsibility might be. And I think just like with PMOs, I think organizations can define how much they're expected. Are they supposed to be more requirement engineers? Are they more design thinkers? Are they more project assistants? I don't mean to devaluate them, but in the sense of, are they more like commercial managers? Yeah. What do they do?
So what are they doing? So to get it a little bit more practical and a little bit more, tangible at the end of the day, let's imagine now jumping into the role of a business analyst in a organization which is quite well established. How does a typical week look like for a business analyst?
Well, that's
what's her job to be done?
That's a great question. Maybe I just want to add, because I think this might be interesting for the listeners as well. If you go, I don't know how it is in other continents, but if you look in the European continent and you look at if you go on LinkedIn, okay, there's a huge contingency of organizations that are looking for business analysts. Once again, you have to kind of figure out what are their expectations are. What is the typical responsibility of a business analyst? I think
or how does a week look like?
I think it really depends on where they're positioned. Like I said, I think most business analysts are staff positions, so there are a pool of business analysts that are drawn, that are used in the pre-evaluation of projects. Now, I'm not going to use, maybe just to put a framework around it, the people who are experienced business analysts will know this. I'm going to use the PMI model, life cycle of business analysis, to create a little bit of a framework, right? Or the knowledge areas. The knowledge areas that according to PMI, are covered in business analysis are needs assessment. Okay. So what I call discovery and evaluation. That's that wonderful, what I call the great green cloud, right? That's when different senior vice presidents or business unit leaders or executives are mulling over problems, issues, opportunities, discussing, hey, the competition has done something new. This is that wonderful, and I call it the great green cloud because it's big, it's impressive, but there's nothing tangible in it. And green is kind of the color of hope, okay? And what business analysts can do there is they kind of do the footwork. They kind of do the market analysis. Okay. They do SWOT analysis. They prepare the workshops. They kind of facilitate. So what they do, my experience and your experience as well, is that executives love to brainstorm and be creative, but they don't want to have to mess with the administrative structure. Yeah. Right? They want a facilitator who can come in there prepared with tools, and they throw their ideas and they nail it down on Post-its and move it around. And at the end of the workshop, you have a visual summary that an executive says,
yes, that's it.
That represents what I think. It creates more transparency. I have a better understanding of it now. Not enough to execute a project or a change initiative, but enough to say, I'm interested in this. Okay. So that's the pre-stage, needs assessment. Then we go into business analyst planning, which is kind of very PMI-ish in the sense, you know how you have the 10 knowledge areas in the PMBOK guide? This is, you know how like for communication, the first thing you're supposed to do in communication is to create a communication management plan, which most people have never done in their whole life. But that's a concept that you're supposed to do. It's the same thing with business analysis planning, which is basically what you do is you plan everything around what is business analysis going to do in the life cycle of a project. And that's where it's a kind of an overlap.
Let me just jump in here, because you said everything which has to be done and needs needed in terms of business analysis in the whole life cycle.
Yeah.
So what is needed?
Well,
I understand the needs assessment. Yeah? Well, if I jump into the role of a business analyst, I say yes, for me it's clear. I will facilitate workshops, I will use tools, I will use methods, I will make surveys, I will make interviews, blah, blah, blah. Huge amount of tools, I assume.
Toolbox, which business analysts have borrowed from quality management, from Six Sigma, from marketing. They use basically every tool that you can find. Okay, pestle analysis, the 5 whys, cause and effect, decision trees. So let's start off with the needs assessment and maybe before the business. What a business analyst should do in the preliminary stage to a project is to support decision makers to make decisions.